Good evening and a very warm welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with News Tonight. First up, a look at the top stories of the day. Countdown begins for Mangalyaan to enter Mars orbit. ISRO all set to complete final maneuvers on Wednesday. Rajya Sabha TV to join ISRO in making history. Will bring minute-by-minute updates on Mars mission from 7 in the morning. Shiv Sena and BJP agreed to keep alliance intact. Crucial seat-sharing meeting to break deadlock in Mumbai. United States leads 5 Arab nations in carrying out first airstrikes in Syria. Targets 20 Islamic State locations. And at the Asian Games, Abhinav Bindra signs off with bronze medal. India add 1 silver and 2 more bronze medals to tally. Our top focus, well, India is at the cusp of creating history on 24th of September with the test firing of the 440-Newton liquid apogee motor on Monday. The final countdown for India's Mars orbiter mission has begun. On Wednesday, the engines will be fired for about 24 minutes to slow down the spacecraft and help it land on Mars.
India's maiden interplanetary mission, the Mars Orbiter mission, has so far moved ahead with clockwork precision. Each maneuver has been executed to the T, thereby raising expectations for the rest of the mission, which concludes on Wednesday. The successful test firing of the liquid apogee motor engine on Monday has raised hopes that things will go as planned on Wednesday. A faultless operation means that ISRO will save fuel and make the spacecraft last longer. Along with the LAM, 8 smaller thrusters will be used to slow down the spacecraft. The craft will approach Mars at a velocity of just over 5 kilometers per second, which will be slowed down to about 4.3 kilometers per second after the LAM fires for 24 minutes starting 7:17 a.m. The news of each event, a series starting at 6:56 a.m., will reach the Earth 12.5 minutes later.
कम वक्त में मिशन लॉन्च किया गया है और काफ़ी सस्ता मिशन है, लेकिन इम्पोर्टेंट इसलिए हमारे लिए है कि दुनिया भर के देश जो आज मंगल पे फिर से वापसी की तैयारी कर रहे हैं और ख़ासतौर पे जो अगले आने वाले 20-30 सालों में वापस मैन मिशन मतलब इंसान भी मंगल पे भेजने का योजना है, उसके लिए मार्स को हमें बहुत बारीकी से अध्ययन करने की ज़रूरत है.
With the engines being tested, the Mangalyaan is pretty much on its own now. ISRO says the radio link between Mangalyaan and the ground mission will be blocked by Mars, which means that the spacecraft will have to execute commands autonomously. The commands were uploaded by ISRO on 14th and 15th September. Once in orbit, the craft's 5 payloads will take pictures and collect data for the next 6 months. The first set of pictures will arrive in the afternoon. At an average distance of 224 million kilometers, Mars is so very far away that planning a perfect mission to the planet is very difficult. If it succeeds, then India will be the first country to successfully launch a Mars mission on its first go and the first country in Asia to successfully reach the red planet. Failures have happened before, and some even at the last stages. That's why India is close to a truly historic moment. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, now let's get a perspective on this story. We are joined in by Chief Scientist at CSIR, Gautam Khaitan. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on Rajya Sabha TV. So the first question, obviously, I'll ask you is that tomorrow it is going to be a big day, really, for the Indian space science. How do you evaluate exactly what is going to happen tomorrow, and how and when will we know that the mission has indeed been successful?
See, we'll know if the things have worked properly or not by about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. That is what is expected. It will take a little bit of time from eclipse to come out, and then only we can receive the signals, and we can be sure these signals will reach in about 22 minutes. That is expected time, and then those signals need to be analyzed, seen properly, and then there will be probably declaration on behalf of ISRO tomorrow morning. But the full confidence that things are working properly will take a little bit of time, because the signals have to be converted here at ground level, analyzed, and then only we will know that everything is perfect or not.
Right. Mr. Raza, also the scientists are saying that there is a very high possibility that this is going to be a successful mission. Nevertheless, the maneuver that is to be carried out tomorrow, it is a very crucial maneuver and a very tricky one as well.
See, I met most of the scientists who are involved very thickly right from the beginning, and their level of confidence about 15 days back was very, very high. In fact, some of the scientists and very senior scientists said, this is a routine job for us. Why are you making so much of fuss about it? But yes, it is going to be a very proud moment. But let me point out here that as far as I am concerned, an outsider from ISRO, the mission is 99% success already. Because there were 5 or 6 mission objectives. We have already met most of them. It is the scientific missions which will start only after the thing starts rotating around that planet. Rest of the technology missions we have already completed. The other thing which is very important is that when chalking out this mission, ISRO had lined up a large number of challenges. These are challenges right from the kind of conditions this mission is going to encounter, to testing on ground, all those parameters which are likely to be encountered when we are completing this mission. So almost 90% of those challenges have been already completed successfully. So in science, failure is never failure, and success is a step towards further questions, further advancement of science and technology and spin-offs.
Absolutely. Also, Mr. Raza, many across the world really have been dumbstruck as far as the low cost of the MOM is concerned, MOM is concerned. But the big question is, how did really India achieve this seemingly impossible thing?
I've been saying that when you are a latecomer in science, then you have advantages as well as disadvantages. One of the big advantages is always that you learn from the failures of the others. You also learn from the successes of the others, which means that you can reduce the cost. The cost of a computer at that time, when this whole business of going into space started, was extremely high. The cost of components was very high. The cost of a camera was very, very high, and it was a bad camera. Today, we are sending a color camera there. We are sending much miniaturized things. We are sending a computer which is like autopilot at the moment, and tomorrow it's going to be almost autopilot operation. So we in India are not only lowly paid people. It's not that cost is low because we are lowly paid people. Indian scientists are one of the best paid scientists in the world, one of the surveys says. Our cost cutting is because we are a nation that saves. We are a nation which is ingenious in working out solutions which are simple solutions.
All right, these simple solutions really have helped in lowering the cost of India's Mangal mission. Thank you so much, Mr. Raza, for joining us and giving a perspective on the entire story. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will witness ISRO's Mars orbiter mission entering the Martian orbit early on Wednesday in Bangalore. Now, the Prime Minister will witness the crucial insertion at the Spacecraft Control Center at ISRO Telemetry Tracking and Command Network. Modi is in charge of the Space Department, so he has expressed a keen interest to witness the historic event. The main engine of the spacecraft will be fired at 7:17 a.m. to carry the Mangalyaan into the Martian orbit. A confirmation about this insertion into the orbit will be known by 8:15 a.m. ISRO Chairman K. Radhakrishnan and senior scientists in charge will brief the Prime Minister about the operations. All right, my colleague Frank is now joining us from Bangalore. Frank, I would like to know from you, you are in Bangalore there. What are the preparations really? Are the celebrations already on? And Prime Minister is also going to come tomorrow to ISRO. So what are the preparations going on?
Well, there are several preparations that are taking place as far as Narendra Modi's visit is concerned. The crackers have not yet begun to burst. The sweets are not yet distributed, but come tomorrow by around 8:15 is when we can probably get a confirmation as to how well the firing has taken place and how well the spacecraft has been inserted into the orbit of Mars. This will take place at 7:17 a.m. and the first results should come to us anytime between 8 and 8:30, and an official word is expected from ISRO by around 9:30, 10 a.m. So by 10 a.m. we can clearly get the official word as far as ISRO is concerned, and then probably the celebrations can begin. But the first results should come out sometime between 8:15 a.m. As far as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is concerned, Narendra Modi arrived in Bangalore at around 6:30 p.m. this evening at the HAL airport and was quickly whisked away to the Raj Bhavan, where he's currently staying. We are just a few 100 yards away from the Raj Bhavan. In fact, we can see the Raj Bhavan from here, and there is tight security. The security has been handed over to India's elite commando force to sanitize the entire area and have ensured that the area is extremely safe. There are several hundred policemen as well manning the gates of the Raj Bhavan and ensuring that security is watertight here in Bangalore. As far as Narendra Modi's visit to ISRO is concerned, he is likely to visit the center at Byalalu at around 6 a.m. in the morning, post which he will go to the Mission Operation Complex, which is in Peenya in Bangalore, a few kilometers away from Byalalu, and he's expected to be there and witness all the things that take place inside the Mission Operation Complex. That's where everything is being tracked. That's where the Mars orbiter mission is being tracked from, and that's where all the data is going to be collected, or data is going to be seen on the computer screens there as well. There is about 4,000 pages of data that is expected early in the morning, and post which, of course, that data will be analyzed, and it's going to take some time before the complete results, of course, come through, Aishwarya.
Absolutely. A proud moment it is going to be. We are all keeping our fingers crossed across the country, people, and also in Rajya Sabha TV. Thank you so much, Frank, for joining us. We'll keep coming back to you for more updates. The Mars orbiter mission was launched into space on 5th of November last year. On its 666 million kilometer journey, the spacecraft escaped the Earth's gravity pull on 1st of December. It is India's first interplanetary mission with an orbiter craft that has been designed to orbit the red planet elliptically. It is carrying 5 crucial payloads that will help MOM study the planet. Here are the details.
One of the main objectives of this first Indian mission to Mars is to develop the technologies required for design, planning, management and operation of an interplanetary mission. Whether the mission is a success or failure, it has already helped the country move forward in the right direction. One thing is clear, after Wednesday, space exploration will never be the same again. The technological objectives of the mission are simple. Design and realization of an orbiter with the capability to survive and perform Earth-bound maneuvers, Mars orbit insertion and capture, and on-orbit phase around Mars, deep space communication, navigation, mission planning and management. incorporating autonomous features to handle contingency situations. There are some scientific objectives too. It includes the exploration of Mars surface features, morphology, mineralogy, and Martian atmosphere by indigenous scientific instruments. The Mars orbiter mission is carrying 5 payloads that will help it achieve these objectives. The Lyman Alpha photometer is an absorption cell photometer. It measures the relative abundance of deuterium and hydrogen in the Martian upper atmosphere. These measurements will allow us to especially understand the loss process of water from the red planet. The methane sensor for Mars is designed to measure methane with ppb accuracy and map its sources. Data is acquired only over illuminated scene as the sensor measures reflected solar radiation. The Mars Exospheric Neutral Composition Analyzer is a quadruple mass spectrometer capable of analyzing the neutral composition in the range of 1 to 300 AMU with unit mass resolution. The Mars Color Camera gives images and information about the surface features and composition of the Martian surface. They are useful for monitoring the dynamic events and weather on the red planet. MCC will also be used for probing the 2 satellites of Mars, Phobos and Deimos. It also provides the context information for other science payloads. The Thermal Infrared Imaging Spectrometer measures the thermal emission and can be operated during both day and night. Temperature and emissivity are the 2 basic physical parameters estimated from these measurements. TIS can also map the surface composition and mineralogy of Mars. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, we'll take a very short break here. Coming up ahead, Saurav Ghoshal creates history by winning India's first silver medal in squash at the Asian Games. Details after a short break. Welcome back. After the break, let's move on in the bulletin now. The deadlock over seat sharing between Shiv Sena and BJP seems to be finally over. According to sources, the Sena has agreed to give 130 seats to the BJP to contest in the Maharashtra Assembly elections. But trouble over NCP and Congress ties is not yet over. Now, NCP has refused to budge, sticking to its stand of equal seat share.
Facing the media together for the first time in several days, senior Shiv Sena and BJP leaders said the two parties were firm on continuing the alliance. A day after BJP President Amit Shah called up Shiv Sena Chief Uddhav Thackeray, top state leaders sat down for talks on seat sharing. BJP had given a fresh proposal to Shiv Sena, seeking 130 seats to contest in Maharashtra Assembly polls. According to sources, Sena has agreed to the demands.
शिवसेना का अलायंस आगे चलते रहना चाहिए, ये मानसिकता शिवसेना में भी है, भाजपा की भी है और इसलिए कई अलग-अलग प्रपोजल्स वर्कआउट किए जा रहे हैं.
दोन्ही पक्षांचं शिक्कामोर्तब. आम्ही युतीमध्ये राहणार. ज्या बाहेर ज्या बातम्या आणि अफवा पसरवल्या जात आहेत, युतीचे भविष्य ठरवलं जाते बाहेर, युतीचे भविष्य 2 पक्ष ठरवणार.
However, Congress and NCP are yet to find a solution to their crisis. Congress and NCP leaders met on Tuesday, but the talks were inconclusive. NCP has refused to budge from its stand of equal share of seats to contest.
निश्चित उसमें केवल संख्या का ही इशू नहीं है, संख्या के अलावा सीट्स के एक्सचेंज का अदल बदल का भी एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण प्रस्ताव है. जो भी हमने मांग की है वो पहले भी आप सभी को जानकारी है, हमने पब्लिकली कहा है.
There will be more meetings between the two parties to come to a negotiation. Though the leaders have expressed keenness to stick to the alliance, both parties are ready to go alone if talks fail to end the deadlock. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi once again today pitched for the removal of outdated laws. Addressing BJP party workers soon after his arrival in Bangalore, Modi said laws that had outlived their usefulness need to be removed in order to increase efficiency and give direction to the government.
एक स्पेशल कमेटी बनाई मैंने आकर के कि भाई खोजो ये बिन जरूरी क्या चीजें हैं, क्योंकि यही चीजें हैं जिसके कारण शासन में निर्णय प्रक्रिया में रुकावटें पैदा होती है. एक ही विषय पर 5-5, 10-10 कानून मिलेंगे.
Let us now get you all the other national news and updates in Nationwide. The Enforcement Directorate today carried out its first arrest in the 3,600 crore Augusta Westland VVIP choppers deal. The ED arrested Gautam Khaitan after conducting searches at two of his premises in Delhi yesterday. Khaitan was on the board of the Chandigarh-based Aero Matrix, that is allegedly a front company for the financial dealings of the chopper deal. The Supreme Court on Tuesday laid down guidelines to be followed after police encounters. The top court called for independent investigations into such encounters by the state CID or a separate police station. It also asked for every intelligence input to be recorded in writing. The policemen have to surrender their arms and ammunition. No award will be given to any policeman immediately after the encounter. The floods have created havoc across the northeastern region of India. Heavy rains across the northeast have flooded Assam, Meghalaya and Guwahati. At least 22 people have died due to floods so far. The Army, BSF and the NDRF are assisting the state administration in the rescue and relief operations. In other news, the Chinese President Xi Jinping has asked his troops to improve their combat readiness to win a regional war. His directive comes in the midst of a standoff between the PLA and Indian troops in Ladakh's Chumor region. Now, China has dismissed reports about India's concerns over the statement as a wild guess. However, the centre is keeping a close eye on the situation.
国际上有的人宣称 中国发展起来后，会走国强必霸的老路，对其他国家构成威胁。我想呢，明确地告诉大家，中国将坚定不移地走和平发展道路。
Barely days after he assured everyone that a stronger China is no longer a threat, the Chinese president raised eyebrows by issuing a vastly different directive to his army on Monday. He said headquarters of all People's Liberation Army forces should improve their combat readiness and sharpen their ability to win a regional war in the age of information technology. He also said headquarters of PLA forces must have absolute loyalty and firm faith in the Communist Party of China, guarantee a smooth chain of command, and make sure all decisions from the central leadership are fully implemented. It isn't clear what Xi meant by a regional war, but his statement coming as it does amid a high-altitude military face-off between the Indian and Chinese troops in Chumor in Ladakh has forced the centre to keep a close watch on the situation. The centre has kept the army on high alert and made it clear that any incursion will be dealt with strongly.
वहाँ लाइन डिमार्केटेड नहीं है, इसके वजह से अगर वो हमको लगता है कि अंदर आया तो हमारा कोशिश ये करेंगे कि उनको वापस भेजना है.
To address the issues of recent events on the border, diplomacy is at work at various levels in various places.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry, however, claimed that the border with India is peaceful.
去通过现有的一系列的涉边的机制来及时的进行沟通，有效的管控。那么据我了解，有关的事态已经得到了及时有效的管控，边境地区是和平的。
Also notable is that the Chinese president's statements are coming in the backdrop of a series of territorial disputes with neighbors, and although none of them has reacted to the remarks yet, some Southeast Asian nations have strongly questioned China's claims in the South China and East China Seas. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The United Nations Summit in New York has put the spotlight on climate change. Leaders from across the world are meeting at the UN headquarters to chalk out a comprehensive new global climate agreement. Now, there's been a lot of global foot dragging over crafting a new climate agreement in the last few years. 125 world leaders, including US President Barack Obama, British Prime Minister David Cameron and Brazil's President Dilma Rousseff will take part in the UN Climate Summit today. Hosted by UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon, the summit is expected to generate momentum for next year's climate conference in Paris. The United States announced its plan to help fund a new World Bank program to counter climate change.
Climate change is a defining issue of our age. It's defining our present. Our response will define our future.
United States will be contributing $15 million to kickstart the World Bank's new pilot auction facility. This initiative will set up a guaranteed price for each ton of methane that project developers are able to cut from their facilities.
On Monday, more than 100 people were arrested for protests against the summit near Wall Street. At one stage, demonstrators tried to push police barricades, sparking a brief clash with officers. Similar protests were held across the world on Sunday as well. The New York protests featured around 1 lakh people, including Ban Ki-moon, actors Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo, and former US Vice President Al Gore.
I'm hoping that the people in the towers, kind of open their eyes and open their ears. There's things that have to resonate with them. They have children, that need to have a better place and a better system to grow up under. So I'm hopeful the message hits home.
The last time when world leaders met in Copenhagen 5 years ago, they failed to get a binding agreement, although many countries did make voluntary pledges to cut carbon emissions by 2020. Subsequently, nearly 200 countries pledged to reach an agreement in Paris at the end of 2015 on a climate pact for carbon cuts beyond 2020. Although this UN meeting is not part of the official climate talks, it is a chance for governments to show some ambition on tackling climate change. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And the United States extended its fight against the Islamic State terror group in Syria today. US, along with its allies, carried out first airstrikes on IS ports in Raqqa province of the country.
Coalition fighters launched their first airstrikes against the Islamic State militants in Syria on Tuesday. The United States and 5 Arab allies bombed at least 20 targets in and around the IS stronghold of Raqqa, raining Tomahawk missiles on Islamic State fighters, training compounds, control and storage facilities. Pentagon spokesman Rear Admiral John Kirby confirmed the operation.
And no one group has done more to put our shared cultural heritage in the gun sights than ISIL. It has no respect for life. It has no respect for religion. And it has no respect for culture, which for millions is actually the foundation of life.
The strikes mark a major shift in the approach against the Islamic State. The participation of the Arab states spreads the responsibility away from just the US. France joined the US last week in airstrikes in Iraq, but said it would not carry out strikes in Syria.
En Irak, cela nous a été demandé. Nous assurons un soutien aérien en même temps qu'une action humanitaire, bien sûr, et qu'un soutien politique. Nous ne pouvons pas en même temps tout faire, chacun le comprend. Depuis le début, nous avons dit que nous étions au soutien de l'opposition modérée, et cela dès juin 2012.
But some world leaders, including former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, cautioned that the Islamic State cannot be defeated without ground troops.
You can contain them and you can do real damage to them. And the boots on the ground don't have to be ours. They can be someone else's.
The Syrian government says it has not formally consented to the airstrikes. However, it says it was informed before they took place. The IS advance in northern Syria has created a refugee crisis in neighboring Turkey, with about 138,000 Kurdish refugees crossing the border. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And on to sports now. And India won 5 more medals on day 4 of the Asian Games at Incheon today. Now, squash player Saurav Ghoshal settled for silver in men's singles final. Abhinav Bindra bid farewell to his professional career with 2 bronze medals. And the Wushu team bagged 2 more bronze in men's and women's category to round up India's performance today.
He made history on Monday by reaching the final of the men's squash singles. History beckoned Saurav Ghoshal on Tuesday against Kuwait's Abdullah Al Muzain. But he was defeated in straight sets 12-10, 11-2. Ghoshal won India's first silver medal in squash at the Asian Games. Ace shooter Abhinav Bindra had announced that Tuesday will be his last day of professional shooting. Expectations were high that he will go out with a bang. Bindra led the Indian team to win the bronze medal in the men's 10-meter air rifle finals and then also won an individual medal in the 10-meter air rifle event. 2 more medals were in store for India in Wushu. Yumnam Sanatoi Devi and Narendra Grewal lost their semi-final clash to win 2 bronze medals on an impressive 4th day for India. In the 2010 edition in Guangzhou, Indian Wushu players had won 1 silver and a bronze medal. The Indian men's hockey team put up yet another strong performance on Tuesday against Oman. After drubbing Sri Lanka 8-0 in the previous match, Indian men won against Oman 7-0. They will now meet arch rivals Pakistan. At the end of the 4th day, China has taken the lead on the medals tally with 81 medals. India is placed 13th with an overall tally of 11. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, that's all in this edition of News Tonight. Thanks for watching. Good night.